So the celebrity dating game appeared earlier this week on our television screens. And unlike some of the previous incarnations, this one is not a reboot, but a reimagining. It's taken something that we've loved and made it greater by virtue of keeping a lot of the same focus points that we've always adored about the dating game in terms of the rules. They still apply. The suitors answer rounds of questions from a bachelor, bachelorette, and then the celebrity deems them worthy or not worthy of dating. However, the contestants at the same time trying to guess who that celebrity is through musical clues performed by this guy, Grammy Award winning singer, songwriter, all about Renaissance man, Michael Bolton. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Oh, you're talking about me? Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.
For starters, I saw you post on Instagram last month that you finally got out golfing.
Yes, I've had a few rounds,
Okay.
but in a year and a half, you know, the game disappears if you don't play like 3 days a week. So that's my excuse for golf right now, or the lack of golf right now.
Well, I was going to
pathetic.
ask, how do you find the time? Like, seriously, you just continue to take an already busy schedule and try to wedge more things into it.
I do love producing and developing, and you know, if it's not music, it's television and hopefully film as well. But the golf thing, I think, is kind of the excuse is I need to clear my mind.
Yeah.
I need to like just give everything a break for a moment. But then you're rusty, so you don't play well. And then somebody's always there to tell you, lower your expectations, enjoy the day. You're out with some great friends. It's a beautiful day. It's green and lush. And then you hear them swearing a moment later because of the way they hit a ball. So I'm letting go of expectation with golf and just trying to enjoy being out there. But I'm really literally really appreciating the work from the show. I watched the original dating game many years ago when I was 3 years old. All right, I was older than that. But I watched it in the 60s and 70s. And when they told me that I would be singing, and this is a reboot in a fresh new way or multiple new ways, they had more of my attention. And Charles Walker is the showrunner and visionary, I think, on this whole new relaunch. And I said, so I would be able to sing throughout the entire series? Yes, I'm in. And it is funnier than I expected and wilder, and the cast of characters, the contenders, basically, they say things that you can't believe they just said, let alone on television in front of millions of people. And some of the celebrity guests are some of the most talented people I've met. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to interact a little bit with them and enjoy their appearance. I'm doing musical clues to help the contestants guess who they're getting a date with or vying for a date with. And I'm finding that while we're singing about these celebrity guests, the mystery guests, we're learning about potentially chronologically their ascent to success.
That's
an emotional thing that happens.
I was just going to ask you that, because you go into it's no different than any body of work, or before you sit down and work with an artist, you really want to get to know who they are as a person. When you're diving into the lyrics, singing about this person, you have to get to know the subject matter a little bit more. So in turn, you get to know them on a completely different level. We, as the viewer, get to know them on a level that, whether they're an athlete, whether they're a comedian, whether they're a reality TV star, we get to know them on much more of that surface level that we ever have before.
Why do I get the feeling you do this for a living?
I don't know if I call it a living, but I do it on the daily.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You know.
And for you, who have I mean, you've offered your interpretation to so many different songs. And I'll gush if I can for a second, because the first time that I heard Sam and Dave's Hold On, I'm Coming, it
Mm,
was through your voice, which was extremely powerful. It was on Timeless the Classics
mhm.
92. We didn't have a super musical family, but my parents had a wide array of tastes. And I'll never forget that, sitting next to the CD player, popping that in and hearing all of those classic songs for the first time through
Wow.
your voice and that interpretation. So now what you've done with this show is you're taking, for example, back on Monday night, you're taking Share, and people are hearing that in a different way. For you, after taking
Mhm.
so many songs and making them your own over the decades, when you dive into something like this and make it somewhat satirical, do you get nervous?
Um, I get nervous, but for a specific reason. Like the Cher song was a song that I wrote for her because she was making her comeback into music after becoming an Oscar-winning actor. And I was a fan of hers, and uh, it was a really enjoyable experience. And then the song winds up having a different life or multiple different lives, including the song for Hannah Brown. Um, and you're reminding me actually of how many gifts there are that keep on giving in a musical career or a multimedia career, where there is an emotional attachment because certain things that were powerful were happening in your life
Hmm.
when that song was becoming a hit, being played everywhere all the time. I found that some of these celebrities were getting emotional while the songs were being sung, while I was singing, basically. Sometimes they were a little embarrassed, depending on what the subject matter was in the lyric. And it was a little challenging with songs that I've sung 1,000 times, because you're going to go to a certain lyric that no longer exists, and now it's been replaced by something funny, and that's a clue and serving a function for the show. So those were harder. It was harder to unlearn the song than to sing a song for the first time and start, embracing the lyrics. It's very interesting because I knew I wanted to do the show once I was walked through the musical elements and the format of the show. But while doing the show, I found different things that I appreciate, that are the human things.
Hmm.
Because it took me such a long time to have a career. I was 16 when I was signed to Epic Records, and then I was 34 when I had my first hit. So those 18 years were not always very much fun, because the starving artist experience is a real one. So while we're watching the storytelling going on in the show on Celebrity Dating Game, we're seeing the expressions on the faces of these different successful celebrities. And it got emotional quick.
You're serving as an executive producer on this show. And you mentioned
Yes.
before that you've got a passion for production. We've seen before that you've had your hands all over multiple projects. American Dream was fantastic, by the way. Somebody who grew up in the shadows of Motown,
Mhm.
seeing your adoration for that, and when that came out, I thought that was brilliant. Do you feel an extra added responsibility and pressure doing double duty with the show in this regard?
Um, Added responsibility that I have accepted. So it's, you know, I kind of knew what I was getting into.
Mhm.
But then I can't remember a time when I've been involved with the post-production of a project, whether it be a film or TV or a special kind of video or something, where it's finished and done like well before they needed it,
Mhm.
you know, mixed and mastered and ready to air. So I think that my life has prepared me to do the work, do the homework to do the work, and then get everything in the laboratory, or like I'm home, I have a studio next door, and mixing and writing notes for edits and the way things are filmed, that if you have any issues with them. I worked with a great team of people who were receptive. And when I sent notes, I didn't hear empty space. I heard, we got this. We'll have you another look by tomorrow at 2:00.
Excellent.
And it was such a pleasure to have a professional team of, really experienced, great people.
You're reading about, celebrity dating game on paper, it's going to be fun. And it's like, how are they going to pull it off? And it seemed to work seamlessly. And I'm excited about watching the episodes to come. I think Iggy Azalea is going to be super fun. I don't want to put you in a position to spoil anything. But was there a guest? Was there an episode? Was there a
Yes.
moment? Yes.
I mean, on the positive side,
Absolutely. Something that will stick out in your mind forever.
Margaret Cho,
Really?
who I love and I'm a big fan of anyway. That's a moment I won't forget. I don't want to give it all away. I wish I could just give just the perfect amount. But there were quite a few funny people, including some of the contestants who were like, what did they just say? And we were all looking at each other. Zooey Deschanel is a total pleasure to be around. She kind of lights up the stage when she walks on, and the whole show is going to get rolling at a professional pace. And I think that, and I tell people this, no matter what you do for a living and no matter how successful you are, the people around you are so important to your happiness, your experience that you have from beginning to end. And Zooey was just a total pleasure and fun and funny, and it really actually, I mean, I've thought about it a few times, but it's quite amazing that we all got along so well.
So to wrap, Michael, the Celebrity Dating Game, Monday nights at 10:00 on CTV here in Canada, ABC in the US. Of course, if you miss anything, you can always get caught up, CTV.ca. I love it because with this incarnation of the show, it proves that you don't necessarily have to be a star to date one, although it certainly helps.
Can't knock that. You've been a pleasure. I really appreciate it.